Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Idaho Business Podcast. It's always sponsored by Health West. Great organization, great people. Google them where they're closest to you and give them a chance. Give them a try. Promise you, you will not be disappointed. We're also sponsored by one of my companies, or both my companies, New Clean Commercial Cleaning and Commercial Cleaning Services. We are covering from pretty much Burley, almost in the Twin Falls at this point, past Rexburg. Give us a call at 208-254-7070 and let us know that you heard about us on the podcast. And if you do, we'll give you one free service, maybe a sterilization service, something that of value to you, no strings attached. All right. You know, we're going to talk about grit today, about getting punched in the face by life and getting back up anyway. How many of us have been punched in the face by life in business and decided, you know what, I'm going to get back up anyways? I'll tell you about a movie that is literally one of my favorite movies right now. And if you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it. It's a good feel-good movie. It's funny. I watch it with my kids even. I probably watched it 3 times because I'll probably admit to you right now, I end up crying every time I watch it. It's just an awesome movie, and it's called Flamin Hot. It's on Hulu, and it's the story of, you guessed it, the brand Flamin Hot with Frito-Lay. Everything you see Flamin Hot on, this is the movie and the story behind it all. So Flamin Hot, you know, it tells the true story of a guy named Richard Montañez, the janitor at Frito-Lay who created Flamin Hot Cheetos and the entire brand of Flamin Hot. Okay? Richard was told, "You'll always be a janitor." They said, and this is a quote from the movie, they said, "I'd never be more than the guy with the mop, but I believed my name meant more." His grandfather's wisdom gave him identity. The Montañez name means something. So Richard didn't wait for permission. He pitched his idea directly to the CEO. So he went from janitor at just a small branch in California out of the all nationwide Frito-Lay. And the CEO put out a video to try to spur sales and spur initiative because sales were down during the mid 80s and early 90s. The economy wasn't the best, and they said, think like a CEO. And Richard took that to heart, and he said, you know what, we're missing a segment of the market here. The whole Spanish and Mexican side of the market here, we put hot sauce and all that stuff when we buy it out of the stores. So why not make something, you know, that's specific to our market? So he calls the CEO literally from the janitor room and pitches him the idea and says, "Hey, can I ship you some of my samples?" So I'm not going to spoil the whole movie for you, but you need to watch it. So what can we learn? Richard acted when others would have quit or played it safe. Okay. How many others do you think how many janitors, you know, at that point, out of this massive nationwide company? You know, this guy, he's the CEO of PepsiCo as well, not just Frito-Lay, would have called all the way up to the ladder and got to talk to him and made something happen. So how many people have told you that your ideas wouldn't work, that you're not ready, that you're just whatever your limiting belief would be? You're too dumb. You're too nice. You're too whatever. How many people have told you that? Okay. Why do we believe other people's opinions? Why? They give opinions because they're self-conscious about themselves, so they have to say that about others. Okay? The world is full of armchair critics, but no critics have ever built a statue. Patrick Bet David quoted, "If you listen to everyone, you'll end up being a no one." I love that quote. Ed Milet reminds us, "You're one decision, one meeting, one moment away from changing your life. Don't quit 3 feet from gold." That's where most people stop. You've seen the diagram, the illustration of the two miners. They're with their picks, and they're in the mine, and they're just picking away. And one literally is 2 to 3 feet away from this massive gold deposit. And he's like, you know what? I'm done. And he starts turning back. And the other one continues to go on, finds the gold deposit, and it changes his life. How many of us want to be the one that turns away? How many of us want to be the one that continues on? So even with me, when I was starting my company, I remember starting it. Obviously, it's not starting a company is not sunshine and rainbows. There's times you're just like, what am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right track? And sometimes you aren't. Sometimes you just have a product or a service that you're just like, okay, the market doesn't need this. You know, if you're selling pagers today, I would tell you, yeah, you probably need to quit. But who knows? You know, with the culture nowadays, buying old pagers and old clothing from the 90s and stuff, shoot, there could be a market for that. So, but for the most part, you know, when I was starting my company, there was times I'm like, my gosh, I remember knocking doors, doing everything, working so hard for every day for a year and a half until I got my second client, and thinking, holy smokes, I got to support my family. I've got to do what I can to make something. And I literally was moments away from thinking, should I just go get a job? And I tell you, one thing after another, if I just kept pushing, things just started opening up to me. And I call them tender mercies, miracles. Obviously, I'm a Christian guy, so I believe that the Lord was helping me. But yeah, it worked out. I didn't give up. But I definitely wanted to. There were times I was just like, this is not worth it anymore. I felt like Napoleon Dynamite. I'm making like $1 an hour. So, and I'm sure we all feel that way at times too. So it's crazy. So we go back into whether it's your family name, your company name, or your standard you carry, it means something. Okay. If you talk about legacy and reputation in small business, that means a lot. You can see quickly how quickly your legacy and reputation can be tarnished within your small business by doing one shady thing, having one thing go wrong that you don't fix the right way, or it's you see that go down. You see companies being called out on Facebook. And sadly, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with how that works. I think people should all be able to see both sides of the story. But I think if a company is so bad and they're doing it over and over again, and it needs to come out that they are predatory, maybe it does need to come out on Facebook so people know. But I'm very against those type of public displays of hateful speech against companies. Uh, Personally, not getting too sidetracked off. When I have a bad experience with a business, I don't like to leave personal bad reviews. I don't like to be those Karens that are keyboard warriors. And if you're one of those people, hear me out on this for a minute. If you don't own a business, you don't understand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into this. It could just be an off night. It could be a bad employee that's having an off night that's serving you. You just never know what circumstances you're running up against. So instead of going on social media or Google and blowing this company up, give them a chance. Go back to go back a second time, especially as they're opening up. Go back a second time. Or if it's extremely bad, ask to see the manager. Talk to him, talk to her, and let them know what your experience was like. And say it in a respectful way so they know how to fix it you know, if you just go and blare it on Facebook or on Google, then everyone sees it, and then they judge that restaurant based on it, or not just restaurant, any business. I'm using restaurant because it's, we can do that all day long. We see it all the time with restaurants, but it hurts people's businesses. I know people that don't have to worry about that for their income of owning your own business to receive a paycheck. You can be keyboard warriors, but just think about someone who's put all their life savings into a business and all their blood, sweat, and tears. And one bad review turns into two bad reviews until it's something that ends up shutting down their business. So that goes the other side too. It's like run your company in a way with the correct cultures, in a way that if you're finding bad eggs in your basket of employees, you got to get rid of them. They are the face of your business. And if you're getting bad responses or bad reviews from these people, you've got to get rid of them. So you got to do your part to get the best reputation you can for your business, to keep the Karens at bay. So your clients, your team, your kids, they're watching how you handle adversity. And I'll tell you right now, like if someone, in a company, if they make a mistake and they own up to it, it's huge. I think about an ad campaign a couple of years ago. It was Domino's. They actually came out. I thought it was a brilliant ad campaign, great PR stunt. It wasn't even a stunt. It was just them taking ownership. They were pointing out all the bad deliveries and all the bad pizzas they put out for years. And they said, we know we messed up. This is how we're fixing it. And it was a huge success. Domino's is more relevant now because of it. People want to know, and people like to hear, "Hey, I messed up. I made a mistake." You can't just sit there. Hey, we're perfect. We do everything right. No, admit that you make mistakes. Take some ownership for things that happen. Okay, so handle adversity the right way. Just like Richard did. He ran across adversity where people, putting him down, his own family putting him down, and even to the point that he thought he was going to get fired because Frito-Lay was laying people off left and right because so many people weren't buying Frito-Lays at that time because the economy was so bad. Okay, so don't ever let anyone tell you you don't belong. Now, kind of my final challenge, kind of as a way to wrap things up here. Where have you been listening to the critics instead of your calling? I want you to write down one dream you've been sitting on, one critic you need to stop listening to, one bold action you can take this week. You're not just building a business, you're building a story. Make it one worth watching. Like always, guys, be happy, be grateful, find opportunities to serve others. If you haven't watched Flamin Hot, I'm telling you, go watch it. It'll change your week. It'll change your outlook. I love the movie. If this episode hits home, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Someone sitting on a great idea who's forgotten just how powerful they are. Adios. Have a great one.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.